Hello and welcome to CDO Magazine series of one-on-one interviews with CDOs, data leaders, and key influencers. I'm your host, Robert Lutton, Vice President, Sandhill Consultants, coming today from Toronto, Canada. On behalf of the CDO Magazine, I have the pleasure of introducing Paul Jones. Paul is the Director of Data Analytics and AI at Baringa over in the UK. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Now, usually I try and do some research, A, on the individual and B, on the company. And it was really exciting for me to actually see that you're the first person that I've actually come across that is actually from a B corporation. And I don't want to steal your thunder onto what a B corporation is. I wonder if you can explain for our listeners what a B corporation is.
Yeah, very happy to. And thank you for the question. I mean, we're actually really proud to have the B Corporation status. And I think in a nutshell, it's really about putting purpose over profit in the way in which we operate. It's about being a force for good in society, for the people that work for you, for the clients you work for, and so on and so forth. I mean, Baringa do a lot of work in the ESG space. So we advise our clients on how to do a lot of these things. And we thought it'd be a good idea to really practice what we preach. We looked at a number of different options to do that. And the B Corp certification process was the most robust one we found. We thought the community was a really good one to join. It took about 18 months to go through the initial certification. And then it's a long-term commitment. So every 2 years, you have to go through the same process.
Right.
It's all about continuous improvement. We're actually the largest management consultancy to have become a B Corp. And, you know, we're just really keen to actually spread the word about the great things about being a B Corp and what it means to be a good organization in society.
I hope that we see more corporations switching over to be B corporations, because it is, force for good. But maybe you can sort of give us a chance to talk about Baringa as a consulting organization. You mentioned that ESG is part of the consulting. Is that all that you do, or do you do other types of consulting?
So, I mean, Baringa offers the whole range of consulting services you'd expect from many consultancies. So we do everything from kind of strategy through to execution across a number of different areas. As you're absolutely right, Baringa's heritage is in the energy sector originally. So we've done a lot in kind of energy advisory. We've developed one of the world's leading climate change models with BlackRock. And so we've got a lot of expertise in that space. But what we have is we have a set of industry kind of verticals that support energy and financial services and products and services and government and so on and so forth. And then we have capability teams, and I'm part of one of those capability teams. So we don't have, I mean, we do have specialists in particular areas like climate and things, but we see ourselves as being specialists in data analytics and AI. And we have a set of people who kind of cover from data strategy, data governance, operating models, those kinds of things, which is kind of my area of expertise, you know, setting up and running large transformations, right the way through to, you know, we've got people with multiple PhDs and, you know, who do all the kind of machine learning and data science type things. So we kind of do the range of services. And I'd say, again, linking back to the B Corp thing, what we aim to differentiate ourselves on is really putting people first, both our own people and the people we work with, and also delivering an impact that lasts. So again, that piece around being a force for good, but in everything that we do, you know, measurable positive impact over time.
So in my second half of the research, I came across the fact that you are an accomplished author, podcaster. You mentioned obviously your qualifications in a data leader. Now, if I can ask sort of briefly, what does the Director of Data and Analytics and AI do for a consulting company such as Baringa? So are you an internal facing role, or are you an external facing role? Which, you know, I thought I'd ask that question so that I knew more about your actual role there.
And it's a great question, because I've just spent the past 10 years in industry in internal facing roles. Right. But this role at Baringa is external facing. So my primary role is providing consulting services for clients. I'm one of several directors in the team, and I primarily focus on financial services clients, although I have done work across a number of different industries. But yeah, it's really working with clients to help them manage and get more value from their data, and then bringing in the right people just to deliver the best service possible.
Right. And I think for this interview, when we're kind of catching up, you mentioned that you have got a strong background on data governance, and is it business strategy and data strategy, or both?
I'd say both. I mean, I think that just because of the nature of, first of all, what I've been doing over the past, nearly 20 years, working in various different roles, building teams and driving change is building teams and driving change, whether it's to do with data or anything else. And the other thing is that a good data strategy is there to underpin the business strategy. It's all about delivering business outcomes. It just happens to be that the solutions are about getting the most value out of your data and about how you manage that data and use it most effectively. But I'd say it's both. And in practice, a lot of that is, organizational change, it's process change, technology change. It's kind of all of those things to deliver the right kind of outcomes for an organization.
So we've got, so we're going to focus in on the two aspects. One is data governance. The other is analytics as well. So you got some knowledge and experience, obviously, in analytics with the team you run. So we're always interested in hearing your view, right? So for our listeners, could you identify why you believe data governance is critical for today's businesses? And feel free to wrap it into the data and the business, strategy as well. But why do you believe data governance is a must for organizations today?
So I'll attempt to describe it in a slightly different way to how people might normally describe it, because to me, everyone already does data governance. They might just not realize it, and it's about how effective we are. So if you do anything with data, you've got to create or capture it somehow. You've got to store it somewhere, and you've got to do something with it. And as you're doing those things, if you capture that data and you do it in a way that it's poorly captured, or you use it in the wrong way, I mean, the worst case scenario is you could do something illegal. I mean, there are some serious implications for getting it wrong. But you get it right, and you could drive significant value. And data governance is really about setting the rules around how you capture and process and use that data, and making sure those rules are applied. Now, what that means can vary quite significantly depending on the scale you're dealing with. You can do it technically at a system level, or in some cases, it can be about globally organizing and aligning what people are doing across multinational kind of teams and things. But the important thing is setting the rules, making sure people follow those rules so that you get the right outcomes for your business, in simple terms.
There's also another thread to pull on that, because data governance and analytics are often two sides of the same coin. Can we ask your thoughts on if it makes sense to you that they are two sides of the same coin? And if so, why do you think data governance and analytics should be paired together? Because this is coming back to kind of your sort of sweet spot in this space.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, it's a great question. And going back to my description of data governance, the reality is that they are intrinsically linked, whether people realize it or not. And again, it's more about how effectively are you doing it. So let's look from the perspective of an analytics team. If an analytics team receives a whole load of data and you have no idea what the data is, it's in all kinds of different formats, it's really mixed quality, they're going to spend a lot of time just wrangling with that data, cleansing it, getting it into a format where before they can do anything with it. And then they might use it in the wrong way. They could result in outcomes that aren't effective, and so on and so forth. So getting data governance right is about making sure that you understand what the data is, and it lands in a way that you can use it straight away, and it's of sufficient quality, or the issues with the quality. And also, when you're in the analytics team, if you find those issues, an effective data governance process also has a feedback loop, so that those issues can be fed back and they can be fixed at source, so they don't keep coming back in every time new data comes in. And again, this is the piece. If analytics is just completely in isolation, first of all, you end up with poor outcomes, potentially seriously poor outcomes, but also you don't have that opportunity to continuously improve, which is where doing this properly really starts joining things up, and everyone benefits as a result.
Paul, it's been wonderful chatting to you today. we, on behalf of CDO Magazine, would really appreciate it. We hope that we can get a chance to come back and hear what's going on with yourself and Baringa. It sounds like it's a phenomenal corporation, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. And thanks again for your time.
You're welcome. And for our listeners, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.